Welcome to another episode of Career Journeys, Real World Real Insights. And today we have Mr. Ramakrishna Boddu join us with over 18 years of experience in the IT industry and passion for mentoring young professionals. Mr. Boddu brings a wealth of knowledge and insights to our conversation. As a seasoned career mentor and IT professional, Mr. Boddu has guided countless students and professionals in making informed career decisions. He specializes in helping individuals identify their strengths, explore potential career paths, and develop skills needed to succeed in the digital age. In this episode, Mr. Boddu will share his personal career journey, offer valuable insights, advice for students and recent graduates, discuss the latest trends, opportunities in the IT industry, whether you are considering a career in technology or simply looking to gain a better understanding of the digital landscape. This episode is sure to provide you valuable insights. Do not forget to subscribe the channel, like, comment, and share the video. And now, starting with the session, we hand over to you, Mr. Boddu.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for having me here on your podcast, and I'm glad that I had this opportunity. And I love talking to and sharing my experience, with whoever it is deemed to be. Okay, so I'll get started. Though there's a wonderful introduction that you have already given about me. I'll start from there. I'll pick up from there. My journey, my career journey, quickly in about 2 or 3 minutes. So, see, I started off as a hardware engineer, which is not usual. If you look at generally, most of them would start as a software engineering. That's how late 90s, mid 90s kind of the dream had to be. But I always had the passion of the nuts and bolts of the IT infrastructure, the computers, the servers, the network, the data centers, all of that. So I started as a hardware engineer. Though I come from the computer science and engineering background, and I eventually, as a fixing the nuts and bolts of the IT infrastructure, from there to doing the customer support, from there to getting elevated into managing the infrastructure domain, the services, IT operations, IT infrastructure, managing data centers. That is how I grew into the mid-level management is what they call a typical way of looking at the corporate ladder. So I spent over 18 years in that field of IT. Started off as a hardware engineer, eventually grown into program managing multi-million-dollar portfolios. Had worked for companies like EA Games, a gaming company. Though it's a gaming company, I was more into enabling the game development with the help of infrastructure. And I also spent a significant amount of time with General Electric, GE Capital, it was called at then in India. And also I spent, a couple of years in the beginning of my career associated with the Tata Group. Tata Infotech Limited is what it is called as. Eventually that got merged into TCS later time. So that's a brief gist of what I have spent over the years. And, here is where the interesting element comes into picture. After spending close to about 14-15 years, the serious introspection had started. This is what, from the Western philosophy standpoint, they call it as a mid-career crisis or a mid-career revival is what they call it. And of course, we all go through, after certain number of years you put into your work experience, we all go through certain, changes, the paradigm, the thought process changes, the definition for happiness and satisfaction gets redefined eventually. Like anybody, I got into my career with one goal that I want to stand on my feet as early as possible, relieve the burden from my parents where they were struggling to support me financially. That's a simple motto. Typical Zen, Zen X kind of a thought process is what they call. And I fulfilled that. And somewhere around 2015 or 2016, this question started, bugging me. How are you going to spend the rest 20-25 years of your active work life? That's a simple question that started with, made me to introspect in detail and understand how am I going to do. So, I didn't have access to the fancy tools or technology or methodologies to see how I can introspect. It is purely a self-talk, trying to talk to yourself as much as possible. This is again from the inspiration drawn from Swami Vivekananda's quotes. If you are not going to talk to yourself at least once a day, that means you are missing an important opportunity to meet a wonderful person in your life. So you don't need an external party. You need to engage yourself in talking to yourself. This is fairly drawn from Swami Vivekananda's teachings. Uh, though I am a kind of, you may want to call it as a disciple or an active participant in the Ramakrishna Mutt and those activities based in Hyderabad. But coming back, so this question started, and that made me to think through what am I, as a person, are the driving forces for me. How do I get driven? What drives me? What motivates me? These are the deeper talk that I had to make myself, and then eventually I found answers for good reason. That one is new knowledge acquisition is one of the driving force, not the existing knowledge. In the space of IT, I've been doing well, and I've been in comparison with any peer group, and I was happy and satisfied with what I have accomplished or what I've been doing. But new kind of a knowledge, IT knowledge, keeping up to date with the technology, the trends, that happens. That is a given thing that used to happen, but that is no longer driving me. So then I kind of got into, the human understanding, human mind, the psychology is what they call that. And I've started enrolling into the academic programs of psychology. That's one step I took to keep me driving. I have not found the answer yet. What am I going to do for the rest 20, 25 years of my life? This is I'm talking about in 2015, 2016. And then, one of my mentors in the corporate world, who happens to my boss for a few years, he's a German. You kind of wonder, a cop in German police turned into an IT professional. And this is a beauty that, some of those, countries get an advantage. Not, we find it difficult to transform ourselves into different roles altogether. And I had to say this, every conversation with this boss used to be like an interrogation to me, because he spent 25 years as a cop in the German police, now became an IT professional, and he happened to my boss. And every weekly one-on-one conversation used to be like an interrogation. I mean, there's a lot of learning. I'm just putting that on a lighter note. There's a lot of learning that took place. And this person, who was 60 plus then, who was a senior person, he triggered few thoughts in my mind. Okay, you do well from your work standpoint, and I'm so happy. But only thing is, I don't see you ever talking assertively or authoritatively. Why don't you work on that? And I was clueless. It was too above my head when he said, "You need." I understand what is assertive talk and an authoritative talk, but how do I put that into practice? Then he suggested, "Why don't you practice public speaking? That makes you more confident." So these are the two paths that I took back then in 2015, 2016. One, driving myself with a new kind of a knowledge. I've enrolled into psychology as an academic, topic. And I also decided to sharpen my saw when it comes to public speaking. So I joined Toastmasters. So these two kept me driving, but that didn't still answer what am I going to do. And eventually, over a year or so, as I got into this journey, then I realized, okay, that there is something waiting for me to do in the field of psychology. Not that I want to become a psychologist or as such, but something in that area. And eventually, as I came close for the next 2 years, over 2 years, I kind of realized that, yeah, there is something called career mentoring or career counseling that I could do, because empathy is one of the aspects that I have embraced and practiced to the maximum in the initial years of my career as a customer support expert. So I finally plunged into the career mentoring or career counseling as an avenue, and I didn't want to switch off overnight and transition or transform into it. I have also made a call, very important call, that I want to be debt free in the next 2 years. because your career would lead you to pick up some financial debt, many things like you get your own favorite car, you buy your house, and not all of it is, you shell out cash. You pick up debt. So I decided no new investment plus, become debt free in the next 2 to 3 years, so that your mind becomes free when you are financially not burdened. Your mind becomes free, and so that it can invest a lot of time into something better. I mean, this worked for me personally well, and that is how I've chosen. And then eventually, by the time 2018 or in the mid of 2018, I started feeling comfortable. I have acquired new kind of a knowledge. So now it is time to plunge into the career counseling. That is how I started associating as a career mentor. And of course, ever since then, for the last 6 years, I've been associated with few organizations in the space of career mentoring and counseling, and I do my own practice relatively. And eventually, when I look back in the last 6 years compared to over 18 years of the corporate work life, I couldn't believe myself that I could do so many multiple roles. I am a YouTuber, I'm a content creator, I'm a video editor, I'm a speaker at forums, I mentor, I don't know what else is waiting. I'm a Udemy instructor, I'm a trainer. Now, I didn't realize that I could do so many things. This is what happens when you pause, think, and apply. This is what happens. Now, I know it's a long story, but I thought it is worth, for anybody who wish to pick up some parallels from this conversation. That's how I'm here. And in that process, it so happened Sachi ma'am and we got along. It's the same world and it's a small world. And through common network, we were introduced to each other. And that is how we both are here today talking to each other. And then, that's the whole idea. And I'm glad that I had this opportunity, Sachi, that you inviting me onto your podcast and giving me this opportunity to talk to your audience. And I'm glad that I had this opportunity. So that's a brief, and I hope that makes sense. Like I said, it's a long story, but nevertheless, I had to take those few minutes. I think over to you. What is next for me?
Yes. So, firstly, thank you for sharing your brief journey. And I don't think it's a brief, it's a very long journey, 18 years plus 6 years. And before we move ahead and I give you something more, I want to know, and audience also want to know, did you do a course on public speaking when your mentor asked you to do it?
Yeah. So yes, I did join. I am still a member, not an active member, but a passive
Mm.
member, part of the Toastmasters fraternity. So ever since then, 2015-16 onwards, I've been associated with Toastmasters. I have accomplished competent communicator and competent speaker, competent leader is what they call Toastmasters. And later, the academic path and all have changed, but I've accomplished competent leader and competent communicator as an accomplishment within Toastmasters. And that, believe me, that put me a lot of confidence in me. The Toastmasters has put a lot of confidence in me. Though I was doing beautiful presentations, I can go walk up to talk to the senior management. All of that happened in my corporate world. But my mentor, my boss, German boss, he closely observed and told, at times you miss authority, at times you miss assertive. You most of the time you persuade, which is okay, but you have to, explore all the dimensions when you talk to people. So yes, I did, and I'm glad. I'm so happy. And whoever I mentor, counsel, now public speaking. And I had to say this since you brought that point. It is not the fear of death. It is the fear of public speaking, which 75%, more than 75% of us suffer. It
Right.
is the
True.
fear of grabbing a stage. It is the fear of talking in front of audience. This
Mm.
is what is called as a glossophobia.
Right.
If you can overcome public speaking, you have a long way to go in your life. Each one of us. Nobody is an exception to it.
Right. So we got a very deep insight. Like your boss was observing you since a couple of years. He, with the help of his own experience, brought 2 points, and you took action rather than just listening and letting it go. And that was what brought the difference. Am I right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I used to consider, I used to have high regards for this person whom I was mentioning, my mentor. I used to respect him because of his wealth of knowledge, not in the technology domain that we used to work in different areas. In different areas, the wealth of knowledge he brings in, I used to respect him. I used to travel to him. He used to come here to India, and a lot of time we spent together. Yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Right.
yes.
So, do you feel when students enter into a work role as a fresher, and when they encounter their bosses, they are not very good in terms of communication and respect and the suggestions they get from their bosses? So, what is that one takeaway or lesson you want to guide to the students that bosses have experience and you are a fresher? So, what should be the mindset of the students when they join workforce early?
Yeah. See, open-mindedness is very key. That is one element largely I see the Gen Z kids, are missing that. Of course, I agree. You are an advanced generation. Most of you are born with, a gadget, alongside, and then you have technology, embraced, throughout. But only thing is, it is not all about technology. It is not all about gadget. Open-mindedness, talking to other person, and be willing, be receptive to the conversation that other person is making. And I know this generation, the Gen Z, are all enormously talented, and they're very very fast paced individuals. But open mindedness is one thing, that means be receptive to the feedback. And of course, the other aspect which I would suggest, doesn't matter whether you are as a student, whether you get into early work life or you put in few years, always identify a mentor, always identify somebody as a mentor to you. And I did this throughout my life. And not necessarily your boss need to be your mentor. Anybody whom you trust, whom you can go walk up to, whom you can go cry out when you are in need, that person will be the mentor. And corporate world, it is said that identify somebody who can see you 360 degrees, not necessarily your boss. Your boss vision is always very narrow, only to the delivery, only to the commitment, only to the role. Of course, you can still have one of your bosses, but it depends on the maturity of that person as well. So identify somebody as a mentor, not necessarily in the immediate line of your work paradigm, but somebody else outside. It can be completely someone from a different domain altogether, outside of your work life also. So open-mindedness, being receptive to the conversation that they are. I'm not talking about feedback. Feedback happens a lot when you get into the corporate world. Sometimes you get little overwhelmed with the feedback that you receive, especially as a fresher. But be open-mindedness, be willing to be receptive, and identify a mentor. I think these are two or three aspects. If you can practice throughout, that takes you a long way. That I've done it thoroughly, and I continue to do it, and I continue to do it. And needless to say, I also have a personal board of directors in my life. I keep that channel. And can you believe, my one of my personal board of director in my life is my 10-year-old son. He tells me sometimes what am I doing well and what am I not doing well, because he observes me throughout. And my grandfather, who is 70-year-old, is also my personal board of director. Right.
Right.
So see if that makes sense.
Right. So you have your own tribe, a personal board of directors, which have people of all categories, all ages who observe you 360 degree. And that is what students and professionals and everyone should have in their life.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it is worth. It makes a lot of difference, and I can vouch for that.
Students will take advantage from this. Going ahead, you also mentioned in the beginning that you started your career in hardware, then moved to software, then into mentoring, and also in between into customer service,
Yeah.
and then also in the industry. We would like to know, when you started as a hardware, the calling came when? Was it in during school or during graduation or during some early years? How did you identify? Were there some activities you were more involved? You were doing self introspection, or
Yeah.
someone guided?
Yeah. So it is fairly simple. I'll put it this way. My career was chosen by my social teacher. Can you believe? My career recommendation was given by my social teacher. My social science teacher advised me, beta, you go and choose computer science, which is going to have a lot of future. That's one line he told me. I picked up on that because I have no clue. And this is when I finished my 10th grade. I had to enroll myself into plus two. It was not a CBSE, it's a state board. They call it as intermediate, board of intermediate in Hyderabad, in undivided Andhra Pradesh. It is still called as a state syllabus. Now, I went and chose. Typical choices were maths, physics, chemistry, biology, physics, chemistry, commerce, or arts. They were there, pretty straightforward. But unconventional group or a stream that I chose was intermediate, that is plus two, vocational, computer science and engineering. Because my social teacher, like I'm sure most kids, their teachers will give you a piece of advice. It may work, it may not work, we don't know. But in my time, it is fairly simple. My objective is fairly clear. As early as possible, I need to stand on my feet, relieve my family from the burden of supporting me financially. Simple agenda. And for that, come what may, morally, ethically, and respectfully, I will do anything and everything and go to any extent. That's a simple. I come from a farming background. We are traditionally we are farmers. Though later, my parents they started getting into business and all. But the initial push came from my social science teacher. Beta, go and choose computer science. This was available in the nearby town after I finished my 10th grade in my village. And I chose, now believe me, that time choosing computer science engineering, we were four or five of them who chose, we were alienated completely from the rest of the society. Because it has to be maths, physics, chemistry, PCM or PCB.
Right.
If not commerce or humanities or arts is called as. Now, suddenly when we chose this computer science engineering, they used to look at us differently. The treatment was different, not in a positive sense, believe me.
Yeah, we get
And
it.
then that eventually led, and I had no choice. I finished, my 12th grade, and I stood about in the top three in my college. With that, in my plus two, and then the natural progression so happened that I had to do my undergraduation. Now again, here is a catch. Undergraduation for a PCM or a PCB student, it's a pretty straightforward. Engineering in our state was just catching up. The fever at that time. Engineering colleges very limited. Some of my peer group used to go to Karnataka and then they go to Tamil Nadu to do this engineering because the number of colleges were less in Andhra Pradesh at that point in time. I'm talking about between 93 and 95. Okay, it picked up 97, 98. The number of colleges were introduced, and that's when the more number of seats were available for somebody who want to do engineering. Now, eventually, a natural calling was engineering. The number of seats were less, and somehow there's a self doubt that there was something called ESET exam. Now they call it as JEE national level,
Yeah.
state level. There was an ESET to get into BTech, but for which either you have to do a polytechnic, not directly from plus two. The entry was not directly from plus two. You have to complete your 3-year polytechnic diploma after 10th grade. Only then you can naturally progress into the 3-year engineering. It was not 4-year. It used to be called as a BTech. So that was not an option because I did my plus two in vocational computer science engineering. So natural progression is two options. One, after your 12th grade, you do polytechnic diploma or you do an undergraduation program. Now, doing polytechnic is again, spending more number of years, but whereas doing the undergraduation is fairly easy comparatively. So we have enrolled into a program. Few of us, 3 or 4 of us, were enrolled into a program called an unnamed undergraduate computers program. Believe me, it was not a BSc computer science. It was not BCom computers. It was not BA computers. These names were just catching up, at least in the universities in the south. Some in the north would have been already started by then, somewhere in Delhi and these places. Now we have enrolled ourselves into a UG program, which is called undergraduation computers. No name was given. This was under the Andhra University, believe me, at the time. Now, and that we've spent a few months, and then suddenly our lecturers called us and said, look, you are going to have this year, the government has, decided to give a lateral entry into Polytechnic second year for the students who completed their vocational course in plus two. That's a kind of a blessing in disguise for us, which we all wanted. They called it off for a few years, and then luckily our batch was lucky to get into it, and we got a lateral entry. So those who completed, for the benefit of everybody, those who completed plus two vocational course, they will get direct admission into the second year of Polytechnic. First year will be waived off. Otherwise, after 10, you have to do 3 years. And naturally, we've chosen the computer science engineering in Polytechnic, just a 2 year, and then we finished. And then, again, the very critical juncture. Now you appear for ESET and get to BTech, or what are the other options? The best progression was you do Polytechnic. These time, at the time, it was like you are vocationally trained, you have certain skill, because Polytechnic used to be more practical orientation than the theoretical orientation. Even today, it is. I like those courses. See, the advantage, fortunately, we were pushed into vocational plus two. There's a lot of laboratory, that is when I saw the x86 PCs, the IBM PC. I had assembled them with my own hands with the help of our staff members. First ever exposure. And the 5 quarter floppy disk in the field of IT. Now you don't see it. It's not even 3.5 inch floppy disk. It's a 5 1/4. How much is the memory on that floppy drive? 512 KB used to be a huge size at the time. Your hard disk was size of a mini radio. That's again, a 1 GB hard drive is like it's like an out of question, out of proposition. So those were the practical exposure we got. A lot of laboratory time. Basic as a language, COBOL as a language, C was a language, Fortran. These are some of the RDBMS tools that we embraced. These are the foundational languages, and eventually, it drove. See how much of foundation, 4 years of strong foundation laid into the space of a little bit of programming and the hardware components, which naturally pushed me to become a hardware engineer, but that didn't happen automatically. I was little skeptical to write an entrance examination to secure a seat in BTech. So the alternative at the time was doing AMIE, Associate Member in Institute of Engineers. That was an alternative for the BTech those days. Even today, it is one of the very nice courses. So Madras, today modern Chennai, the then Madras used to be hub for the South, who want to get there. So we went there, a few of us as a group, we enrolled into AMIE, and parallelly, I had to say this, there's a book called IBM PC and Clones. It used to be a size of a Bible, huge book. Now it was called as the Bible of a hardware engineer. And we were fortunate, a couple of us were fortunate to get trained directly by the author of that book, B. Govindarajan, in Madras, the then Madras. This is when I'm talking about 1997. So he trained under his team. They trained us on how to handle a motherboard, how to fix a problem of a motherboard, how to assemble a PC. All that took place, and that naturally gave us a progression to start my career as a hardware engineer. That's the journey started.
So what I see right now from the discussion we had so far, you had something in mind that this is what you want to do. The path was not known to you. So you kept on trying and took up whatever came on your way, open to it. That's something students need to learn, because now students are preparing for entrance exams, and if they don't crack it, they feel like I'm done and now I can't do anything. But the lesson over here is, if you have a goal in your mind or something you want to do, we just have to keep ourselves open and the paths start unfolding. And we should be willing to take up alternate routes, because vocational education, diploma courses, polytechnic courses options are available, which students do not take up. They feel like they will be feeling low in the society, or they will not be at par with the standards of the other students and friends.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that what you want to share
yeah,
with the students?
absolutely. Now, for the last 6 years, I've been talking to countless individuals. Now, be willing to have plan B, plan C. Be willing to explore the alternatives. The earth will not shatter or the sky will not fall down if you can't clear JEE or NEET or CLAT or CUET or anything. They are not end of the world.
Right,
And don't have to be socially shamed. There are enough alternatives. Look at, I'm talking about 25, 30 years, there were so many alternatives. Only thing is explore. And not many were known at that time. Nowadays, information is at your fingertips.
right,
And you have professional career mentors and counselors on your side who are ready to support you. My
right.
mentor, my career guide was my social teacher. Simple. One line guidance. Choose something new which was available. That course was just 2 years old by then. No, but
Right,
there was no enrollment to that course.
right,
Right. So point is, have plan B, explore alternatives. That is
right,
very important. And I think that I've always been, willing to accept the alternative paths. That does not mean that I've not put in 100% effort on what I wanted to be. I did. When eventually it did not happen, I was willing to move on, navigate across. That's very crucial. And this is one of the very career navigation is a very crucial element that every child nowadays has to plug into their career plan, willing
right.
to navigate. Now, you don't have to take a drop here.
Hmm.
Don't waste the quality time of your life at this age, at the age of 17, 18, 19. Your first attempt, let it be the best attempt. Eventually, for whatever good or bad reason, if you're not able to get there, find an alternative and move on.
So students who are watching this video and are engineering aspirants, the IT JEE admission intake is only 1%. So if in case if you don't get it, don't get disheartened that you're not fit for it, you're not capable. There are alternate routes. Have a plan B and C ready with you and just follow it. That's what we have to
Absolutely. And
do.
Sachi ji, with your permission, let me tell you this. The world has already moved and fast pace progressing towards capabilities. Credentials world is gone. What do I
Right.
mean by credentials? Credentials are you have a degree from an IIT or a reputed institution. That's a credential that you acquire. But what if you don't have skill? And I'd like to quote 36% of IIT Mumbai, IIT Bombay graduates were not able to clear the campus placement, the requirements of campus placement. I'm not just trying to threaten by just picking one order. It was happening over the years. Your credential world is gone. It is going to be the capability world. The world of work is looking for your capabilities. Believe me, sooner or later, the credentials are good to have, not a must to have. And if you don't have capabilities, you're gone case.
Right.
Even if you are in a reputed institution, 20 to 25% stand good chances to get a better landing. The rest of them are struggling. That is what
Right.
statistics says over the years.
Moving ahead, given your extensive experience in the IT industry, what are some current trends and emerging technologies that students should be aware of? And how can they prepare themselves while they are studying and completing their education?
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's look at a little backward. Every child aspire to get into the field of IT. At least the majority of them. It could be a peer
Right.
pressure, parental pressure, whatever it is. Because
Mhm.
only reason is you get a corner office, you get a nice gadget to sit on, and you get a completely air conditioned room, and you get all those fancy things, which is good. We all deserve to have such a decent life. Absolutely no doubt about it. But are you made up for that? That is the introspection that you need to make at a right age, at 15, 16, 14 years of age. Are you made up to such kind of work environment? Are you made up to such kind of work style? Is what? Of course, I'll not get into that detail, because that is what you need to sit with your career mentor or a counselor and understand how you can, iron it out. But I'll stay on the question here. Now, there are a lot of, everybody wants to get into software engineering, software development, game development. These are the trending buzz for the last many years. But let's look at how many of us have really heard about prompt engineering a year ago. Most of us wouldn't have heard, except for the people who are really working in the technology domain, closely associated with the advancements of technology. Very limited number of audience were involved. I mean, the work population. Majority of us, as a common man, I got to know, though I am from IT, since I've distanced from IT and became a mentor, I know about artificial intelligence and machine learning. But a career called prompt engineering became a buzz in the last 1.5 years. Ever since the chat GPT or other tools were made available to a common person. But the technology behind it, the AI and ML, were there for the last 10, 15 years. They have made significant contributions. Now it is predicted that in the next 5 to 10 years, all those so-called software engineers or programmers, if they are not willing to transform themselves into prompt engineering roles, they become obsolete. Point I want to highlight here: 5, 6 years ago, generated code is not an acceptable norm in the field of programming. But today, it is a norm. You use AI to generate your code. Of course, you give a human touch and then make it more appealing. All that is there. Not that you are like kind of lifting it from somewhere. Imagine, generated code was not a norm accepted 5, 6 years ago, but today it is a reality. Organizations have started accepting it, and that's how it is. So, if you remain as a programmer, you are actually becoming obsolete year over year. You need to acquire some latest, technology trends, adapt to them. So, I'm going to quote about 3 or 4 which are going to have at least a good, based on the World Economic Forum or Gartner's or McKinsey's, a lot of predictive analytics have been made. Not that I'm talking it as a word of mouth. Now, AI and ML is one of the area that one could look for deep into it. Artificial intelligence and machine learning. And I'm going to call out some, careers within that space as well, right? We're going to talk about some careers also a little bit. And the other aspect is cybersecurity, information security. This is the another area that is going to have a lot of demand, a lot of prospects. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, cybersecurity, and of course, Internet of Things is already picked up the pace. Internet of Things has already picked up the pace. Okay, and furthermore, there are a lot of drivers, especially the analytics and the data science, which has already picked up the pace, and this is going to be one of the future drivers. The data science or data analytics, cybersecurity slash information security, artificial intelligence or machine learning, Internet of Things. These are 3 or 4 major drivers, especially in the field of IT, which are going to contribute a lot. Now, it is AI and ML. I would suggest that those who are willing to specialize in that area, it becomes like at some point, coding is a must-to-have skill, irrespective of what you're going to do. So that's how the buzz. Now, today, understanding AI and ML, artificial intelligence, machine learning, is going to be a buzz for you. If you don't know how to make use of a generative AI tool, you are considered to be, doesn't matter whether you are into IT or into the civil engineering or mechanical or as a medical fraternity or into commerce or humanities, doesn't matter. Today, it is becoming a new norm that you need to know how to make use of these AI tools. Fairly simple.
Right.
Now, when you're getting core into the technology domain, into the IT information technology, it becomes eventual for anybody to embrace this as one of the specialization, one of the skill set. Doesn't matter whether you want to become a AI ethicist or an AI engineer or a machine learning expert, doesn't matter. Or you want to become a data scientist or a data analyst, or you want to become a cybersecurity specialist or an information security manager. You have to embrace this AI and ML is one area. It could be as a full throttle specialization at your undergraduation or master's level, or as a subject knowledge that you need to acquire. Now you want to work in the field of AI ML, then it becomes, of course, eventual for you to get into that domain. There's no other option. Now, how do you get there? How do you become an AI expert or a machine learning specialist? Fairly simple. The pathways for all of these careers, two or three pathways. Preferably, you pick up maths, physics, chemistry, PCM, as your mainstream subjects after your 10th grade. This is in your plus two. Preferably, but not mandatorily. Please understand that. This is not a mandatory. There are alternatives I'm going to talk about. PCM is an ideal path after your 10th grade to choose. And again, eventual natural transition will be doing a 4-year undergraduation program that happens to be engineering. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be through JEE in IITs or NITs. You can get into BITS Pilani, BITSAT is the option. There are a lot of private deemed to be universities like SRM, VIT, Amrita, Manipal, and every state has got their own state level engineering counseling, state level engineering entrance examination. Maharashtra has got their own, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, everybody has got their own, state level engineering. The natural evolution, PCM, after that you go for one of those entrances, state level or national level, whatever, and then eventually get into the engineering 4-year and pick up AI and ML as a specialization possibly, which would lead you to becoming an AI engineer or a machine learning specialist. You're going to go write down the algorithms and all of that. That's how eventually progression. This is one. The other option is you choose PCM and then you could do BSc computer science, no engineering entrance examination, purely based on your 12th grade marks and followed by any university level entrance examination that you could take up. It depends on which state, which college, which location, which university you're trying to apply, which is mostly a 3-year undergraduation program. And many universities have started offering this as AI and ML as a specialization at a BSc computer science level also. These are non-engineering courses. And because of the NEP guidelines, the non-engineering undergraduation programs will transform into 4-year undergraduation from 3 years. The work has already started. Some of the IITs have started offering non-technology 4-year undergraduation programs, which has no entrance. Those are all credit-based, multiple entry and multiple exit. Okay. So one is PCM 4-year engineering. 2 is PCM 3-year BSc as on date we speak. Third, PCM or maths with commerce or commerce with maths. You could choose BCA, Bachelor of Computer Application. Like I said earlier, credentials versus capabilities. It is all about capabilities. Credential is to get you an entry into that world of work because we have still not completely transformed into a capability world, which we are transforming. So Bachelor of Computer Applications, which doesn't necessarily warrant for a PCM. It will also intake from a commerce student as well. Not necessarily a biology student. Now you do a mismatch. Probably we'll have to figure that out. Why did you get there first and why do you want to redesign yourself and all that? Yeah, change and all that, right? So these are the pathways and they remain same for Internet of Things. They remain same for cybersecurity, information security. They remain same for robotics. They remain same for any of the IT. IT is purely a skill-based career. Let me put it that way. I cannot simplify more than this. It is purely a skill-based career. And I know my mentees who have done a 5-year integrated course in biotechnology and microbiology in BITS Pilani. They are working with the large IT companies. They don't have any connection with what they have studied for 4 or 5 years and what they're doing at a workplace. Okay, it is a skill-based thing, and your capability, your credential becomes only an entry point. So, information security, cyber security, this world is slightly different. More than your academic credential, you need to get a professional credential. For example, you want to become an hacker, ethical hacker, then you need to accomplish something called certified ethical hacking as a certification, which is a world recognized certification. Now you want to pursue as an information security expert, then certified information security manager or information security professional, which are offered by ISACA,
Yeah.
ISACA.org is an organization who offer these courses. These are professionally recognized, and Cisco, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, they offer their own cloud-based certifications, programming certifications, a lot of certifications they offer, which are the skill-based courses on top of your academic credential, especially when you want to get into information security, cyber security. Now, Internet of Things is again more. We have been hearing this from Union government for the last 5, 6 years about the smart cities. How are these smart cities built? It is purely based on, it is nothing but connecting all those internet, all those electronic devices, internet enabled, and make them smart so that the communication, the ease of doing, the ease of living becomes easy. Understanding this paradigm in a simplified way is all about Internet of Things. Okay, this is an IoT as a specialization which is being offered at an undergraduate level. And of course, robotics, if you are more like, hands-on, construct and repair, want to make your hands dirty, then get into the field of robotics as well. And data science and analytics. If you are good at numerical ability, if you are good at abstract reasoning as an ability, then data analytics, business analytics, data science, or business intelligence, these becomes the forte. Don't think they are not an IT courses. Today, without data manipulation, data analysis, nothing happens in this world. How does Amazon know when you want to buy a tripod? How does it know that what is that potentially you could buy, a substitute product after buying a tripod or after buying a phone on Amazon? How does Google know that what your, what is in your mind that you want to search? How could it become? It make recommendations, right? These all, it's all a lot of data, AI, and all being used at a very high level. 3 or 4 paths. You choose PCM, not mandatory. You could choose commerce with maths. Maths as a reason because your numerical ability, logical reasoning would add value when you understand math. If you are not a mathematics student also, you can, many universities in the country are accepting the BCA who come from with a non-maths background also. But the number of universities or colleges accepting those students will be less compared to the universities and colleges who accept a PCM or a commerce with math student for a BCA. You could do BCom computers, you could do BA computers. For that matter, you could do any other degree, undergraduation, and eventually build that skill. Engineering is not end of the world. There are a lot of options. But my suggestion, my recommendation to everybody who's listening to this conversation, or generally when I mentor anybody, don't wait until you complete your undergraduate. Start picking up as many skills as possible right from your 11th grade onwards. Don't have to wait for you to complete your 12th grade. Start picking up these skills. Even if you don't use it also, which is fine. At least you have some new skill that you have embraced. Don't remain yourself that 9 to 4 college and only the engagement within college. Expand it beyond. So I'll summarize: artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, cyber security or information security, data science, data analytics. These are the 4 or 5 different areas which are going to transform the job market, the world of workspace in the next 25-30 years. These are the predictions made by Gartner's, McKinsey's, World Economic Forums, and many futurists have made this predictive analytics already. They are going to be the one of the huge job generators
Right. So students who are listening to this, they have got a very good and deep insight, like what are the futures of jobs available, what are the paths available, and not just the entrance exam, there are various alternate routes available. Plus, along with the educational journey, students also need to acquire certificate courses, which are skilled courses, and they are professional courses and accepted in the real world of work. With this, students also have a question. Along with these courses, do you still need to go for internships, or they can do some practical learning after completing the certificate course or as a part of certificate course?
Absolutely. Now, internships or practical work experiences, whether it is virtual or physical, these are going to be. I have my own, example. I'll tell you how I did. When I learned Oracle in my polytechnic diploma, I used to teach Oracle to my juniors, make them do projects. Now, I have literally, though I'm not a qualified, lecturer at that point in time, I have become virtually a guide for them to complete their project in their later years. Now, this is what you teach your younger, juniors or sub juniors. This is one best way I always recommend. You go teach your best subject to your juniors so that you are sharpening your own skill. And when you do your own project or assignment part of your academic journey, it will be very limited. But when you make many people do it, look at the amount of exposure you get. It is multiple projects experience you get. That's an easiest way that anybody can pick up while they are in their academics. Number one. Number two, it is very important. Most importantly, gaining that work experience, the shop floor experience is what it is called as. Doesn't matter whether you're in technology domain, non-technology, STEM course or a non-STEM course. Getting a shop floor experience is going to be very crucial. When I say shop floor experience, go and work somewhere during your summer breaks, during your weekends. It could be working in a departmental store. It could be working in a mechanized industry. It could be if you are you in your network or in your family, you have a family business, go and help your parents with your family business. Okay. Internship doesn't necessarily have to be in a very formal way. Don't wait for college or university to grant these internships to you part of your academic program. There's a lot of competition there and a less number of intake that happens when it is internship. Right after you get into your 11th grade, if you are clear about your career aspiration, your career goal, start aligning yourself into that work. Participate in the workshops. For example, if you want to aspire to become a robotic specialist, take part of the robotic workshops that takes place in and around your vicinity. If you want to become a data scientist, imagine that. Then you learn the data analytics tools. Don't wait for your college to teach you. They will teach you in a limited way. Learn this Power BI, learn the advanced Excel kind of things. And find an opportunity to work to utilize that skill. Now, there are two ways to look at when you want to do internship or practical experience. One, many colleges and universities offer this part of the undergraduate program beyond the second, third years as you get into that program, depending on a 3-4 year program. That is one way to look at it. And there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of aptitude tests conducted, and out of 100 people, 10, 20 of them get selected. The 80 of them don't get that opportunity. So don't wait until that opportunity taps into you. You go and find that. Today, there are a lot of opportunities available virtually also. All that you need to find is, for example, internshala.com. There are many tools, many platforms nowadays that are available that you could go and find out an opportunity along the lines. Okay, now you want to become a cybersecurity expert, information security expert. Don't wait for you to complete that undergraduation program in an information technology discipline or a computer science engineering discipline. Exercise these courses, exercise these practical learnings. And there are a lot of free courses, free, open source courses that are available along with certain experience that you can gain, certain case studies that you can experience.
So what
So
we
internships and practical exposure cannot be substituted with anything else. They are the must to have.
right. So what I was saying is when students are studying and if they know that this is what they want to be, so first they can read on that topic, research on that topic, maybe meet people who are already in this field, find out what are the skills and basics, fundamentals they need to learn while they are schooling, and then they can take up some projects, internships, and also mentoring from the people who are already in this field.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Sachi ji, let me tell you this. I keep asking my students, my mentees, this question because there's a good number of students and their parents who work in the field of IT. Right now, I always ask this question: did you ever get a chance to go to the workplace of your parent? It is not that you're going for a party and attending and coming back. No, spend a day with your parent. If they are working in the field of IT, spend a day with your parent at their office. And I'm sure organizations will allow this. You don't have to worry,
Yeah. Job
right?
shadowing.
And if not one day, do go multiple days. Understand. See, everybody know that when your parent is working in the field of IT, all you know is they sit in front of a laptop and they keep doing something or the other, staring into that screen for 8 to 10 hours a day. That's all for an outside person will get to know. But what exactly pinpoint? What exactly are they doing? Are they programming? Are they administering something? Are they simply responding to emails? Are they analyzing some data? What the work role? What tasks do they perform? That is your first hand experience. Per se, if your immediate, if your parents are into the field of IT, if you have any uncle, aunt, your near and dear, anybody doing, go do embrace. If you don't, find a way, find a way for you to go and spend a day in a life of an IT professional. Go and spend with them. And this is
Right.
same for any career for that matter. If you want to become a doctor, go and spend with a doctor for 24 hours. Then you will actually understand what is the pain and pleasure, in that career. So it's crucial.
Right. So job shadowing plays a crucial role in understanding the work role in any field of work.
Absolutely, absolutely. Across any career, this is across any career.
So do students get placements once they complete these courses, and do companies take them and
Yeah,
give them good salaries?
yeah. So now this is a very, I don't want this to be quoted, and nobody can, what do you call, promise or guarantee a placement. But now I would say, how to look for something like this. As early as possible, you get clarity about your goal, career goal or career aspiration. Provided at your 10, 11 grades, if you get clarity, then it becomes easy to lay down a path and then handhold you to mentor you, depending on your, who you're engaged with as a mentor or a counselor. Now, the question is largely, if you see in India, at a very high level, 75% of the graduates whom we are producing as a nation, they are not employable. Let's accept the fact and digest it.
Right.
75%, especially the engineering graduates, they are not employable. What do I mean? I'm not saying this. This is the NASCOM. The employers who are part of the NASCOM have been cribbing about it because you got to do something seriously. And this was not overnight. This was happening for the last many years, which means these kids are merely having a qualification of engineering or undergraduation. Okay.
Yeah.
Now they are not job ready, they are not skill ready for them to get into the production after they complete this undergraduation. I'll give you a simple example. Now, from a parent perspective, typical parent thinks that, my kid, I wish that my kid get into the field of IT because that's where the more, earning potential and the number of opportunities are high comparatively. Of course, there are logistics, supply chain, a lot of other industries who offer more number of opportunities because we are talking about technology. And they claim that my kid got selected in the campus placement, and Infosys or IBM or Capgemini or Wipro or some Microsoft or somebody has picked them up. Now, the irony, what they don't understand is after they were picked, irrespective of their academic credential, a civil engineering graduate, a mechanical engineering graduate, a computer science engineering graduate, all of them are picked up by a technology IT company to make them work in the field of software engineering or software development, game development, or whatever that it is. Now, these kids are rigorously trained for 3 to 6 months before they were put into production. And there are a lot of checks and balances happens during this 3 6 months time period. If they don't clear all those hurdles, they will not be placed. They'll be shown the door. Now, campus placement is only an opportunity that you're going to land, provided if you are part of those 25% of those graduates whom if you are coming out of, these college or universities. And if you are part of the 75%, it is so unfortunate that, it is, you don't find a chance right when you are in college. So bottom line, I want to present a realistic number here. 20 to 25% are standing chances to clear those campus placement and get placed while they are in campus. Not necessarily they are job ready. They will further have to be trained. Now, 75%, more than 70% are not getting that opportunity because of the demand supply and a lot of other parameters. So the point here is those who stand good chances are who build those skills. Of course, these campus placement firms would look for your ability and your aptitude. They look for a certain communication skill depending on the role, and then of course they will look at certain face-to-face interviewing and all of that. Those are the things that you need to anyway clear. That's how typically you will have an aptitude test. There's a group discussion and then an interview. These are 3 or 4 hurdles that you need to cross. But beyond that, imagine if you had clarity that I want to become a cybersecurity specialist. Now imagine KPMG or Deloitte or some company is coming for a campus placement to your college or university. Now you already acquired an ISACA certification in the field of information security. You already acquired a certified ethical hacking as a certification, which is a world-renowned industry recognized certification. Then tell me who will be the first person to be picked up by these companies, the KPMG or Deloitte or whoever those are. You will be the person. Most kids think that I'm okay to fulfill my 75% of attendance requirement for me to complete their undergraduation. That is one basic thing they look at. And I can clear my arrears during my 3rd year or 4th year. They'll put up backlogs. This is another common mistake they do it. And these are the common mistakes that would put them behind the race when they are getting campus placed. The practical reality is you go to any college, any university in this country, 20 to 25% stands good chance to get through that campus placement, number one. And yes, now you look at the recent statistics of IIT Bombay this year. Minimum 4 lakhs was the package, maximum somewhere around 80 lakhs or even beyond that is the, look at the variance. And not all of them were placed. There are multiple reasons. Some wanted to pursue higher education. Some wanted to do something different. Some want to change their domain. There are a lot of different areas. I mean, not that I'm talking only about these IIT, but many other private deemed to be universities have got a good track record. But one suggestion I can make, look at this QS World ranking and NIRF ranking as the parameter when you choose your institution or college or university when you get into. Because one of the parameter is their campus placement positioning also. Okay. Now, I gave you a, 2 extremes of an IIT Bombay graduate, 4 lakhs versus 80 lakhs package, who completed, computer science engineering with some discipline. Right. And now, depending on the reputation and the exposure of that institution, whether it is bits, whether it is SRM, VIT, Manipal, or for that matter, any state level very reputed engineering colleges. It could be either extremes. Sometimes you get a good, pay package of beyond 1 crore if you have embraced some niche skill during those 4 years. Now, doing in the reputed institution give you good chances of landing, but doesn't guarantee a campus placement. Only thing you can make a key differentiation is acquire a relevant skill that will make a lot of difference to you.
Right. So what we get is acquiring relevant skills and being in that 20-25% through both academics as well as credentials and the right certificate courses, not sticking to the hardcore that 75% attendance is mandatory, not looking only at the CGPA, but making yourself skilled, knowledgeable.
Absolutely. The internships, find that opportunity. Explore, you fail, explore. That's more
The
important.
students who are in the bottom 70-75%, do you have any advice for them? How can they take up?
It's a mindset. Why these 70-75%? Why that number is? Why is there so huge gap? Because this is where we come into picture as a mentor counselor. These 70-75% need more than anybody, as somebody on their side as a mentor or a counselor. And my observations are as follows. Number one is they have no clue. They just got into the flow because of peer pressure or parental pressure. They got into some engineering or the other by just mugging up their entrance examination. They have no clue why they were here. That is what makes them into that 70-75% of that bottom. Okay. And some are smart enough, though they had no clue, they get there, but eventually they learn the trick. Over the years, they learn the trick, they get engaged with their alumni, they get engaged with their seniors, super seniors, all of that, and then, play the trick and then learn it fast. But the main reason is not having clarity. Now you go and ask a third year engineering student, why are you here? What are you going to, where are you going to see yourself down the line? There's no answer most of the time. Those who do not have answer get stuck in that 70-75%. The only advice I can get to these, anybody, all of them, get engaged with your alumni of your own college, of your own university. That would open up your thought process. Now, I'll give you a simple example. Recent one of my mentees, though he was not into the technology, he was doing data analytics and business intelligence as a specialization in BBA. He was a commerce student. And this kid was so curious. He happens to be my mentee, and I've been guiding him for the last many years. He was so curious. Before even the college announces the internships, he was going and pestering the staff member. When are you going to announce the internships for us? Right now, he was so, and then believe me, his class teacher, she got pissed off with this boy. When the announcement comes, we will make it. He was so curious because I told him, you need to go after them. Then that means you are in the radar. That means this kid is very curious, and it helps you a lot. Now he went ahead and then what he did. Goldman Sachs and then D. Shaw are the two institutions, two organizations who come and do the internships over there. Pick up these candidates. Now he went ahead and figured. I told him that, beta, you go and find out who cleared those internships in the previous year and who are working with these companies. And he all the way found a couple of them who are working for this D. Shaw and Goldman Sachs. And then he went and spent a lot of time, made friends with them, spent a lot of time, got a lot of tips and all of it. That is how you need to get into it. Get engaged with your alumni, because your mentor or a counselor is a third party. Not all the time have got a direct visibility into the happenings of your own institution.
Right.
But whereas your seniors and super seniors who has already walked that path, they can show you a better path. Beta, They will tell you, look, my dear friend, we have made these mistakes. You don't fall prey for it. You learn from our mistakes. So my advice, network with your seniors and super seniors. This is going to be very crucial. Not that 75% or 25%, especially for those 75%. And there are a lot of introverts and ambivert personalities in this 75% lot for sure. And now they will have tough time in having conversations, striking these conversations with those seniors and super seniors. Don't hesitate. Engage as much as possible with your placement cell. Make friends with them so that you get to know a lot of insights and make yourself better prepared. And I go back to my same, preaching of your capabilities cannot be substituted with anything.
Right.
Don't remain with a credential. Build as many capabilities as possible.
So for the remaining 70-75% and including 20-25%, first thing is alumni engagement. Increase your curiosity, find out who are the companies coming in, go and find out about the work role, about the company, and start talking to the people and getting curious about it. Second is, in case you land up at a wrong place, go and get your counseling done.
Absolutely, it's very important. If you are
Do
clueless,
not,
even in
yeah.
third year, if you are clueless, and sorry to interrupt, even if you are clueless in your third year, better engage with a career counselor or a mentor. Have somebody on your side.
Do not hesitate that what will people think about you. Just go and do it. It's your career. Do not think about anyone else.
Absolutely. Nobody has time in this world to think about you. You have to bother
Right.
about you, my dear friend. It's as simple as that.
So
Maximum 2 or 3 days, they'll talk about, "Arey, ye beta ne, ye bachcha ne aisa kiya." You know, it is just a matter of 1 or 2 days. They have their own life to deal with.
and in case you are in the category of people who want to be engineer and you have those capabilities and skills, but still if companies do not take you, just move out of the campus and get your access to the companies and get your own job. Approach the
Absolutely.
companies and take the job yourself. Companies
Absolutely.
do not have to come to the campus and pick you up.
Absolutely. The campus placement is a limited number of opportunities.
Right.
But you put your best effort right from your first year onwards to become to that top 25%. That is the best way for you to get placed. Ultimately, you have to get placed. You have to start doing some work. That's the ultimate purpose of your career. Of course, happy and fulfilling life you have to lead. Eventually, if you're not able to land, though you're a deserving candidate, nothing to worry. Campus placement again is not end of the world. You can look out, provided if you have the right capabilities. Provided if you have the right capabilities. That's very
Right.
important. So having clarity in what you want to become, what you want to pursue as your career aspiration or a dream or a goal, accordingly align that path. And if you are clueless, get somebody as a mentor or a counselor on your side. Do not hesitate. Speak out, ask for help. Sometimes it could be your teacher, your teaching faculty could literally turn out to be your mentor. You don't have to go to a professional mentor. And we are not saying come to us, we're going to help you make your life beautiful. Not necessarily. Sometimes your super senior can become your mentor to give you the guidance. So
Sometimes
engage.
even juniors can become the mentor.
Yeah, like I said, my personal board of
Right.
director, my 10-year-old boy, he is my personal board of director. I'll tell you, he gives me a wonderful feedback. When I create a video, I ask him to look at it and tell me, give me some feedback. He says, probably in this video, you are using too many filler words. Now I go redo it. I don't argue with it. Just redo it. As simple as that. It's an honest feedback. A 10-year-old, 11-year-old is feeling. So
Yeah.
you never know.
Right. So we all do these things at home because we all are mentors and counselors.
Correct.
Yeah. Before we move ahead with the last few questions, 1 or 2 questions, I request all of you to just share, like, and comment on the videos and subscribe the channel. Moving to the next question. In this fast-paced world of IT, what kind of work-life balance do you recommend for students? Because they are doing so many things and they forget to think even about their health. So how do you do it, and what is the advice for the students?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Sachi ma'am, these are the hard, rude realities of an IT career. I spent over 18 years. Now, one common symptom that I see again, I'm not, scaring anybody here, but I'm trying to present the factuals. And unfortunately, many of them out there who are in the corporate work life are not ready to accept these facts because of various good reasons. Now, typically in India, in our with the health and medical fraternity health standards, typically your arthritis is a common ailment that typically beyond 50s and close to 60s in our society, in our environment, people are tend to catch up. Once they are 55, 60, the arthritis, basically your juice, I'll put it in a very layman terminology, that the juice under your kneecap goes down, which will make it little rigid. The movement becomes rigid, right? And I'm not a medical expert, but with little amount of knowledge, the only reason is your exposure to vitamin D and your ingredients of B12. These two are the common causes which are leading your bone strength or arthritis. These, I mean, at a very high level. Again, I don't want to be quoted as a medical this thing, but I'm just giving a very layman terminology. Now, unfortunately, these people working in the field of IT, not getting exposed to sunlight, no vitamin D exposure at all, 8 to 10 to 12 to 14 hours sitting in an air conditioned room, most of the time it is a sitting posture, which is leading to these kind of elements in mid 30s. And your commute in this very polluted and traffic, heavy, dense traffic environment, that is also leading a lot of issues. So, of course, now COVID has given a lot of work from home and a lot of opportunities. That is again another problem. Now you become, obsolete staying at home for a longer period of time because you're missing on networking, which is a human tendency, right? You need to go and meet people, talk to people, get engaged with people. Don't sit at home all the time. So the point I'm trying to drive is there are negative consequences because of the nature of work. Most of the time you sit. Of course, organizations have been, a lot of ergonomics, a lot of, many things they put into play. But unless you hit the, a roadblock, you don't realize, right? You don't appreciate the initiatives the organizations take. So be mindful about your work. Most of the time, the IT industry, these folks, they will have to sit in front of computer most of the time, 8 to 10 hours, whether it is a meeting or doing some analysis, doing some programming or doing some review, attending some meeting, doesn't matter. Likewise, we are sitting now for the last hour or so. That is going to be a very key observation I want each one of you to realize. Now it is good sitting in a corner office, air conditioned is good. I'm not saying no to it, but make sure you make a healthy, lifestyle. You exercise a healthy lifestyle. You get that exposure timely. And of course, there is a lot that organizations are encouraging to be talked about, that you need a vision break every 15 minutes, you need a break. A lot of fitness aspects are being taught, but I want to caution your work life. When I say work life, the time that you're going to spend at your workspace may become counterproductive to you over the years, because in your early 20s, mid 20s, early 30s, you are at a high energy. But as you hit mid 30s, that's when the body goes into a different, domain altogether. And as you progress further, this is when your ailments will start. So be mindful, exercise a healthy lifestyle, especially, when you have to sit and work, when there is limited physical movement. Now, sitting in a chair and doing some postures here, there, doesn't, it'll help, but not going to solve. Hitting a gym every morning or a workout, also not going to solve. You need to balance what your body needs. That is one crucial thing, because I myself was a victim of that arthritis in my mid 30s. I barely could walk for about 6 months. I was literally limping. And there are many out there. Not that everybody is catching up. There are many good percentage of people are catching a lot of ailments. Okay. So please be mindful, because this is a career in IT. In many cases, sit and work across the desk. Physical movement is very limited comparatively. So that is a very crucial thing. You need to be ready, prepare yourself for that kind of an engagement. So that is one
Right.
crucial thing. And two, if you want to balance out, your work and life. It is if you look at your personal life and your work life. Now, here is why how I put it. If you are at your full throttle, if you are enjoying what you're doing, the question of balancing your personal life and work life doesn't arise. When you are stressed out on either side of your life, personal or professional life, this is when balancing both of them becomes a challenge. When you are enjoying, you signed up for that job, you enjoy, you take pleasure every minute, every hour of it, then there is no stress that comes to you. Of course, there will be a work pressure and deadlines and all will be there virtually. Now you enjoy, when you are enjoying your professional work, you will automatically look at your personal life in a positive sense. If you are not enjoying your work at your professional space, then your personal commitments becomes a burden on you. This is when the balance, gets disturbed. So do what you love or love what you do. Fairly simple. Then the question of balancing doesn't arise. Otherwise, it doesn't matter whether it is an IT career or any career. It becomes a burden. Either of them will become a burden on you, and then you will get stressed out and you will get burned out.
Very
That's
rightly
that's how I
said.
would put it.
Yeah, because when the people do not enjoy their work, that affects them psychologically, and then where the internal resistance and the issues and relationships come in place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a lot of sharing for the students, whether how they want to enter into the IT field, what is the scope of the IT field, emerging trends, certification courses, educational journey, different routes for education, followed with how they should be maintaining their health and how they should be capitalizing more on the placement opportunities, what they should be doing inside the campus. Everything was beautifully captured, along with the first thing which we did was having a mentor in the life is most important, and who can be that mentor, including your board of directors, involving people of any age, any category, outside your work role, who can view you 360 degrees. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
beautiful sharing, Bodhuji. And we just want to know from you last one advice for the students
Yes.
before we end the session.
Okay. Now this is my life mantra, and see if that helps you. And I draw this inspiration from the ancient, scriptures. Do not let the fruit be the purpose of your actions. Do not let the fruit be the purpose of your actions. And therefore, you won't be attached to not doing your duty. Do not let the fruit be the purpose of your actions. Therefore, you won't be attached to not doing your duty. I'll put it in a little simple way. Take pleasure in your work. Don't worry about the outcome. If you're taking pleasure in your work, you are set up for delivering a great outcome. As simple as that. Take pleasure in the journey. While you have a visibility about the destination, in everything that you do in your life. This is what I've been following ever since, and I always take great pleasure in my journey more than just the destination. Now you are always wanting to chase that carrot, which will never be yours in the corporate world, believe me. Then you are burning out, you're stressing out. Enjoy every moment, every hour, every minute. Then the outcome will be in your favor.
Right. So it's as said in Gita, karma kar, phal ki chinta mat kar.
Yes. And I don't want to bother, with the Sanskrit reciting, so I put it in a plain English. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that sharing. If any student wants to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, and I think feel free to leave my number, my WhatsApp number, Sachiji, and which I'm going to anyway. You already have it. Maybe in the description, however it deems to be. I'll be more than happy to ping me on WhatsApp. And I'm, not just only in the field of IT. Since I've been a full throttle mentor for the last 6 years, I think I can add value to many other, career aspirations. And I'm more than happy to talk to these young boys and girls who are in need. You know, um, WhatsApp is the best way. Just a message out there, and I'll be connecting back. At the earliest convenience.
Sure. Thank you for the beautiful sharing, and we stay connected. Students and parents, before you leave, do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the video. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.